Michigan Southwest starting lineup. Randy will face Carroll, DeRosa back in there. Victor Martinez hitting just 3 for 33 against the National League, even though he's right near the top in the American League. Chu, Peralta, Balbuena in the middle. It's Jimenez, Francisco, and Sowers at the bottom.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively. Soriano, Kosuke Fukudome getting a rare start against a left-hander today out in center field. Milton Bradley over in right field. Jake Fox with another start at third base today. He'll be joined on the left side by Ryan Theriot. One of yesterday's heroes, Andres Blanco at second base. The red-hot Derek Lee over at first. Giovanni Soto doing the catching today for right-hander Randy Wells. This will be his 8th start of the season. 6 of the previous 7 starts really good for Randy Wells. His only subpar outing last time out against the Twins, a 7-4 loss. Went only 3 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs, but that's been the only blip on the radar screen for Randy Wells.
We'll set the umpires for you in his 6th year. Lance Barksdale. From Mississippi, he'll work home plate. Colon, the crew chief Marsh, and Hudson on the bases. You see those light blue wristbands a lot of players are wearing today. They support prostate cancer research. So it's Wells against Carroll. And we're underway. A first pitch strike on a fastball. Off the plate inside. Overcast, but the lights are not on, and there's a small chance of rain today.
And wind blowing pretty much straight in from right field right now. Not a real brisk wind. Boy, and if the first 2 games of this series were any indication, the ball will be jumping again today.
Right around room temperature. 71 degrees. Soft liner that's going to drop in front of Bradley, and Jamie Carroll leading off the game with a base hit. Here's Mark DeRosa, who was reduced to a pinch hitter yesterday after the hip injury he suffered on Friday.
Boy, and he was really taking the business from the Cubs today. As you mentioned yesterday, Mark DeRosa had a big game against Ted Lilly in spring training down in Arizona. 2 home runs and another ball that hit the batter's eye in center field. And Derek Lee and some of the other Cubs were giving D-Row a hard time for ducking Ted Lilly. You know, if there was any way Mark DeRosa could have answered the bell yesterday, he would have been in that lineup. But he really banged that left hip hard on the bullpen phone down the third baseline.
He and Randy Wells were briefly teammates at the end of last year. Wells 6'3", 230 pounds, from Belleville, Illinois, too far from St. Louis. 26 years old. It's been a while. 9 days since his last start. A week ago Friday against Minnesota, and as Bob mentioned, really the first bad outing of his major league career. Half swing, and DeRosa went too far, 1-2.
With a pitcher like Randy Wells, you do get a little concerned when it's been so long since his last start, only because he's more of a finesse guy. He's not a power pitcher. Doesn't really have a snapdragon breaking ball to get a lot of swings and misses. He relies on hitting his spots on the corners of the plate. And those are the guys you worry about with too much of a layoff. Sometimes they come back feeling a little bit too strong. They try to bite off too much of that strike zone, and that's when Randy Wells will get in trouble.
The kick and the 2-2 pitch. Boy, the last two in just about the same spot, but off the plate. Victor Martinez is on deck.
Good pickoff attempt that time by Randy Wells. It looked like Jamie Carroll was leaning towards second base. All you really want to know is that runner going or not? I'm sure Giovanni Soto appreciates that pickoff attempt because now he'll be ready to throw should DeRosa take or swing at a strike three.
He is running, swing and a miss, strike three. Got him. Soto's been really good lately. After working hard with Matt Sinatra on his mechanics. And just like that, 2 outs.
Well, we all get enamored talking about catchers throwing arms, and certainly Gio has a good throwing arm, but the quick feet is what gets it done. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the day right here in the top of the first. Giovanni Soto with a rocket down to second base to complete the strike him out, throw him out double play, even though DeRosa tried to hit him on top of the head with his bat on the backswing. Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys.
12th time in 41 attempts. Gio has nailed a would-be base stealer. 1-0 on Victor Martinez, who is catching today. 0 for 6 yesterday. Did not hit a ball, believe it or not, out of the infield all afternoon.
I mean, obviously this is our first look at the Indians and Victor Martinez, but I've been amazed at how many fastballs he's taken in the strike zone in this series.
High fly ball to left. Soriano is over the hop to catch the inning. Leadoff single, but no runs. Bottom of the first, Cubs coming up. Indians fail to score. Come in 33 and 31. They've won 3 straight. Soriano, Terrio, Bradley at the top. Big homestand for Derek Lee. He's having a great month of June. Soto with the nice throw out on the double play earlier. Fox gets his second start at third. Fukudome in center against the lefty. Blanco and Wells 8 and 9.
Take a look at the Indians defensively today. DeRosa in left, Francisco in center, Chu over in right field, Johnny Peralta and Luis Valbuena on the left side of the infield, Jamie Carroll and Chris Jimenez on the right side. Victor Martinez doing the catching today for left-hander Jeremy Sowers. Sowers, the #1 pick of the Indians back in 04, #6 overall out of Vanderbilt. They feature a fastball, a cutter, a slider, a changeup. As I touched on earlier, he's considered to be a 5-inning pitcher. He's gone 6 innings only 1 time all season.
26 years old, born in St. Clairsville, Ohio. Soriano pulls it foul. 2 strikes on the Cubs leadoff man. 4 for 30 on the homestand, but a game-ending RBI and a game-winning run. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That'll bring up Ryan Theriot.
They say baseball's a non-contact sport. Tell that to Giovanni Soto. Mark DeRosa's backswing catches him on top of the helmet as he's completing his throw to second base, but able to get it down there in plenty of time to complete the strike him out, throw him out double play.
Theriot has won a couple of games with the final swing. He's hit it his last 6 in a row. Hitting 80 points better at home. Shoots that ball out toward the alley. Francisco will pick it up, but not before Theriot has an easy double, his 13th two-base hit.
Boy, that is the swing that we grew to love from Ryan Theriot in past seasons. That inside-out approach, a fastball up and out over the plate, and he drives it into that gap in right center field.
Brings up Milton Bradley, who's trying to extend a hit streak to 10. Theriot's now at 7. Knee-high strike. Lots of other action already underway, including Milwaukee leading at Detroit 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th, and the Cardinals also with 2 runs in the top of the 1st at Kansas City. Cardinals jumped ahead of the Brewers in the division. Theriot trying to get third. Safe. He got in.
Ninth of the year for Ryan Theriot. Got a little bit of a late break, but Sowers is really deliberate to the plate, has a lot of moving parts. And that's the time to attempt to steal third base with 1 out in the inning. Now Milton Bradley doesn't have to get a base hit to drive that run home.
How do you like that slide? Came in sideways. They bring their infield in. The 1-1 bounced. He got him on the tag. Can you believe that? How about that double play? The ball was fair. Peralta quickly tagged Theriot. Mike Quaddy's convinced he got back to third base. But the call made by Marvin Hudson. That's it. Lou coming out to get an explanation as well. No score.
Down the third baseline, leading Peralta to the bag, and Terrio has nowhere to go but right back into that tag. Very, very close. The tag was up high on the hip. The question is, did Terrio get his foot on the base before Peralta made the tag up high on that right hip? Very close.
Now, Terrio's foot went down first, but it hit the dirt before the base, and it looked like it was simultaneous. But at any rate, it got the Indians out of the first inning, and here's Chu to lead off the second. And he drives the ball the other way, but Soriano is there. A little back pedal move. 1 out. The Cubs have a new program for fans who like to travel to see their team play. Cubs Destinations, a preferred baseball road trip provider of the team, provides Cubs fans with the most unique VIP road trip experience available. Each package includes great tickets to sold-out games, first-class hotel accommodations, a VIP tour of each ballpark, and a private meet and greet with a current Cubs player. For more information or to book your trip, call 617-226-6550 or visit Cubs.com. Johnny Peralta grounds out, 2 away.
You know, one thing about that play at third, Len, and a good lesson for young infielders out there, you could see Peralta reached up to tag Ryan Terrio and ended up tagging him on the hip. Very close for the right, getting back into the bag. If you're an infielder, understand where is the runner going to go. He's coming back to the bag. So put the tag down on the base. Make the runner come to you. So many infielders on tag plays want to go out and get the runner, and they give him a window to slide in under the tag. Put the tag down on the base. That runner will come to you.
One and one on Valbuena. He hit 7th in game 1, 8th in game 2, and he's batting 6th today. Why not? 3 home runs in the series.
The picture, if you will, on this play, if Peralta puts his glove down in front of third base, if he goes straight down or leaves his glove down there, it's an easy call for an out at third base. But because he tagged Ryan up high on the hip, it made it a tough call for Marvin Hudson. A very close play. You want to make it as easy on those umpires as you can.
Yep. Well, that bat broke right at the handle. Look at that.
Jeez.
To use a balsa wood.
I'll tell you, the way he's been swinging it this weekend, he could hit with a chair leg. This kid has been very, very impressive. Opposite field home runs, line drive home runs, made some great defensive plays. Good looking young player.
Full count, 3-2.
And if there's one thing we've learned about Luis Valbuena is that he's a very good low ball hitter. All the damage that he's done in this series have been on pitches down around the knees or lower.
Payoff pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. And they go down in order, 1, 2, 3. Derek Lee, red hot. He's going to lead off the bottom of the second.
experience in the Bud Light Batter's Eye. Your guests will enjoy Wrigley Field luxury and never have to open their wallets while enjoying unlimited food and beverages, reserved seating, private restrooms, and a breathtaking view of the friendly confines for only $165 per ticket. For more information, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-CUBS.
Sun's starting to show up here at the ballpark as Jeremy Sowers works to Derek Lee, ball one. Derek is 5 for 10 with 3 homers and 4 knocked in the series. Sharply hit grounder, gobbled up by Valbuena. That'll bring up Giovanni Soto. Starting to drive the ball, 4 extra base hits on the homestand. Royals got 3 in the bottom of the first against the Cardinals to take a 3-2 lead, and the Cardinals coming back with 1 in the second. That's drilled left field corner, and it's high enough for a home run, just over the basket into the front row. That was a line shot home run. Five homers on the year for Soto.
That looked a lot like the Derek Lee home run against Kerry Wood in the first game of this series. Our Heineken home run replay. Middle in fastball up a little bit, right where Gio likes it. Nice quick swing. Line drive homer into the basket in left field.
Ball one on Jake Fox. 4th homer in the last 12 games for Gio. Easy play, Peralta. Fox retired, 2 gone. I'm sure Lou would have thought about possibly having Kosuke in the lineup today against the lefty. But the decision became easy when Reed Johnson's back locked up. So Kosuke in there versus the southpaw. And I guess Reed's day to day. Quite sure how long he will be out. Lou wants to make a couple of changes to the lineup tomorrow to give some guys a rest. He'd like to give Terrio the night off in Atlanta. Andres Blanco will play short. He'd like to play Micah Hoffpower in left for Soriano and also give Bradley the day off. Yeah. Carlos Zambrano working even on an off day, helping out his battery mate.
Yeah, helping Gio get the gear on, got him a drink of water and a towel.
DeRosa with the catch. And that's the inning, but the Cubs grab the early lead. Giovanni Soto pulling one into the bleachers and left. 1-0 Cubs. Randy Wells against first baseman Chris Jimenez, who takes a strike. DeRosa back in their lineup, but Ryan Garko has a sprained left wrist. Aggravated it on a swing yesterday. So Jimenez, who started in left yesterday, gets the nod at first today. Oh, Mr. Potato Head action.
Sports Spuds.
That'll be a fair ball for Jimenez. And he'll end up with a double. And we are told it's Jimenez, not Jimenez. Chris is from California originally.
Not a bad pitch. Fastball at the knees on the outside corner. Just a little cue shot off the end of the bat. Drops fair down that right field line.
Second time the Indians have put the leadoff man on base. Brings up Francisco, the center fielder. Swing and a miss. Strike one. In one of National Baseball writer Buster Olney's recent online posts, there was a story about Randy Wells on ESPN.com, and a couple of very interesting notes about Randy Wells. When he was a kid, he would do something that I did, and I think a lot of young baseball players did and still do today, and that is throw the ball up against the side of the house. Make sure you get your parents okay to do that. I actually threw against the front steps in front of the house, but Randy Wells would mimic the delivery of a lot of major league pitchers. And Olney writes that when the Cubs converted him from catcher to pitcher and would make mechanical suggestions and bring up a pitcher and say, do it like this guy does it, Randy easily could do it. Nice play by Derek Lee. Got the long hop on the throw from Terrio, and they get the first out.
Terrio throwing on the move, headed over toward the hole, kind of rounds that ball off, makes the across the body throw, and nice long hop for Derek Lee. He did have to back up a little bit onto the base, almost getting in the way of the runner Francisco, but nice pick over there on the other end, and the runner still at second base.
So if, for instance, somebody would say, you know, if you do this like Roger Clemens, he then could say, oh, okay, I know exactly what he does. I think that certainly has helped Randy in becoming a full-time pitcher, which he started to do in 2003.
The funny thing is, there's probably a kid somewhere in Chicago throwing the ball against the side of the house doing his impersonation of Randy Wells right now.
Yep.
I noticed that pose that Randy takes as he's getting his sign from Giovanni Soto, very similar to Jason Isringhausen. The way he holds his glove right in front of his stomach, has the ball behind his back, just kind of tucks his hand with the baseball into the glove, trying to hide any change in grip that he may be doing. Very reminiscent of Jason Isringhausen.
Well, he grew up not too far from St. Louis, so we can ask him if that is who in fact he is emulating. I think Isringhausen's done for the year. Arm injury with Tampa Bay. 0-2 to the pitcher. Sowers is too high. 1-2. The Indians have the tying run at second base. 2-2 on Sowers with Jamie Carroll on deck. A swinging bunt. Post play at first, but Fox gets Sowers. 2 outs in the inning. Got the best Chicago sports news nightly on Sports Night. Coming up tonight at 6:30, a full recap of today's Cubs and Sox games, plus all the other action around baseball. Join Pat Boyle for Sports Night tonight at 6:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. That hit him. Carroll hit by a pitch. Indians get hit by a lot of them. And that'll give DeRosa an opportunity.
Trailing fastball up and in, just grazes that left shoulder of Jamie Carroll as he heads on down to first. They set a franchise record last season, getting plunked 103 times. They're on pace to blow right by that this year.
48 hit batters on the season, leading the majors.
Talked to Mark DeRosa before the ball game today. He says he has the perfect outline of that phone box on his left hip. The bruise that was left, perfect imprint of that bullpen phone down the left field line. The door on that phone was wide open, however, when DeRosa ran into it. Well, that was painful to watch.
A 1-1. Out in part of the strike zone on a sinker. 1-2. Soto wants it up and in. Here it is. Out over the plate and up. And hit foul.
Now this is that collision with the phone that we talked about with Mark DeRosa. Took it right off the left hip. Ooh, man.
A double and a hit batter. 2 outs in the inning. And a 1-2 to DeRosa. Called strike 3. They strand a couple. Cubs lead 1-0. experience, featuring 100 out-of-market games per week. Live on your computer. Catch those you missed on demand. For more details, visit Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. Remember those days?
I remember being the holder, not the holdee.
Gotcha. Andres Blanco is a really good series. Game-tying RBI hit yesterday, and I love that he admitted after the game, and I did notice his reaction. I thought it was an odd reaction to tie the game. He thought that was a game winner, and that's why he reacted like that. That is a foul ball. He eventually would score the game-winning run.
I saw the same thing you did, Len, and I was wondering to myself, why isn't he going hard down the first baseline? What if that ball's bobbled in center field? He might be able to get to second and put the winning run in scoring position, but all's well that ends well. And I know you had to ask him today, right-handed or left-handed? Never quite sure which side of the plate he's going to hit from.
Randy Wells on deck, and then Alfonso Soriano. Soto with a home run in the second. And a ball dropped by Peralta. The throw is in time. Got a shortstop's arm over there at third, and able to make the play.
Backhand play, knocks it down, falls out of the webbing of the glove. Unfortunately, right there where he can barehanded and throw from that awkward angle. You mentioned the shortstop's arm. That's been his primary position. Found himself here at third base recently. Makes a nice recovery to get the out.
Jeremy Sowers has an interesting delivery. Actually, seems to lift his left foot off the rubber ever so slightly before the pitch, as that'll be taken unassisted by Jimenez.
Hey, Cub fans, you can get a full meal for under $5 thanks to McDonald's Appetite Stimulus Package. A hot sandwich, a cold drink, and delicious fries, all for under $5. Treat Dad to dinner on Father's Day.
Here's Soriano for the second time, struck out swinging in the bottom of the first. He really shifts that landing foot. Starts it at a bit of an angle toward the third base dugout. Foul pop up behind the visitors' dugout.
A lot of moving parts in that delivery. Starts out with that pigeon-toed setup on the mound as he gets his sign from his catcher Victor Martinez. You mentioned the high leg kick, almost pulls his foot up off the ground.
Left center. DeRosa's going to give way as Francisco makes a catch. Sowers just basically 9 pitches per inning so far early on, but he trails 1-0. pitchers in history to have the same number of strikeouts in one game, equal to their age. Wow. That's interesting. I would have to think Kerry Wood, if I get the question correct, right? 20 strikeouts
at 20 years of age.
20-year-old.
Yeah.
Has Jamie Moyer struck out 45 or 46?
Not recently.
Okay. We'll take him off the list. Randy Johnson. Great question. Wells with a 1-1 pitch to Martinez. That is a strike.
Given the fact we're playing the Cleveland Indians, we talked about Bob Feller throughout the course of the weekend. Maybe Bob Feller very early on in his career. I think he got to the major leagues when he was 18 or 19, so that's well within reason for a pitcher of his caliber.
Bounce to Terrio, who throws out Martinez.
Unless there was a 3-year-old that struck out the side sometime.
I think Bill Beck signed somebody that young, maybe. The Menards grounds crew taking care of this beautiful playing surface. Not having to deal with rain so far today. 1-0 on Chu. Came in at an even 300, 0 for 1 to start the afternoon. Lofted into center. Long run for Kosuke. Lays out, makes a catch. Nicely done by Kosuke Fukudome.
Kosuke actually got a real good jump on that ball, given the fact that Chu broke his bat. You see the full swing. You assume that ball's going to come off the bat with some velocity behind it, and it just floated out there into shallow center. Great recovery, great diving catch by Kosuke Fukudome.
Inside on Peralta.
Well, that's where your sense of hearing really comes into play as an outfielder. If you can hear that bat breaker, that not solid contact, you can get a better jump on the ball.
That's high, 2-1 on Johnny Peralta. The Indians will head to Pittsburgh after this one. Cubs to Atlanta for a makeup game before heading off to Detroit. I believe I recall the Pirates trying to get the Cleveland Indians as their natural rival. When you think about the Browns and the Steelers, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, actually might be a pretty good rivalry. Got the Indians and the Reds, but Pittsburgh and Cleveland have as much a rivalry because of the football teams.
And also geographically not that far apart.
Full count, 3-2 on Peralta. Valbuena's on deck. Ball 4, the first walk given up by Randy Wells.
Of course, the last couple of years, every American League team wanted to be competitive rivals with the Washington Nationals. Put the weakest team in the other league and say, hey, we've got a natural rivalry with them. Washington 20-46 going into play today, 16 games out of first place in that National League East.
But
they've won 4 in a row.
They've won 4 in a row. Willie Harris with a game-ending home run in the 12th last night as they beat the Blue Jays. Well, if the Cardinals beat the Royals today, they will have gone 5-1 versus Kansas City in interleague play. And right now the Royals lead 4-3 in the bottom of the third. Detroit 3, Milwaukee 2 in the bottom of the eighth at Comerica Park. Tigers are going for the sweep. Quality starts for Giovanni Gallardo and Justin Verlander in that one. 2 more hits for Miguel Cabrera. He's now hitting .335. Sounds like Maglio Ordonez will be back in the lineup Tuesday night against the Cubs. He's been put on the bench, struggling a little bit lately. Valbuena out into right center. Kosuke on the move. Couple of nice grabs by the Cubs center fielder in the inning. 2-out walk, but no damage. It's still 1-0 Cubs as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Tagged at third base on a very close play as Johnny Peralta apparently got his glove in there, although Ryan maybe got back in time, and then Peralta threw on to first to complete the strange 5-3 double play. And Ryan will lead off the bottom of the fourth. He doubled, stole third, and then tagged out in that bizarre play in the first inning. Strike one. Sowers making his Wrigley Field debut. Mentioned he was born in Ohio, went to high school in Louisville, Kentucky. Attended Vanderbilt. His best season was 2006. 16-5 if you combine his AAA and Major League numbers that year, with a 2.42 earned run average. Terrio draws the leadoff walk. Time to answer the excellent Aflac trivia question today. There are 2 pitchers who have struck out their age basically in one game. And I think we got them both. Bob Feller as a 17-year-old in 1936, and Kerry Wood as a 20-year-old in 1998. Bob Feller missed 3 seasons during the 40s during World War II and was scheduled to pitch today in the Hall of Fame Classic at age 90 in Cooperstown.
I was telling you yesterday, Len, when I was in the minor leagues, Bob Feller was still, I guess you'd call it barnstorming. He'd go to some of the minor league ballparks, and for a small fee that was donated to charity, you could stand in the batter's box and actually take some swings against Bob Feller.
Fair ball for Bradley. Through the bullpen, DeRosa will pick it up. Terrio's going to stop at third, and the Cubs are in business. 2 in scoring position with nobody out for Derek Lee.
Sixth double of the year for Milton Bradley. Got a cut fastball inside. Nice quick swing. Keeps it fair down at third baseline. Table setters are doing their job for the guys in the middle. Hottest Cubs hitter at the plate now with 2 men in scoring position.
Bradley's hit streak's now at 10. Derek Lee coming in at 17. Called strike. Our Menards Big Lumber stat. Derek Lee leading the league in batting since May 16th at .374. Pablo Sandoval of the San Francisco Giants. His teammate Aaron Rowan. Both have been very good over the last month or so. 0-1 on the way. Just missed the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Brian McCann, the catcher from the Braves, also on that list. We'll see him tomorrow down in Atlanta.
A right side pop up into the outfield, and it'll be caught by Chu, and nobody able to move. As Terrio went halfway down the line.
Now Ryan did the right thing there. Sometimes you want to tag up if you think that's going to be an easy catch for the second baseman, but that was not an easy catch for Jamie Carroll going out, and only at the last instant did Chu call him off and make that running catch. It looked like Jamie Carroll was going to be the one to have to make the play. Not an easy over-the-shoulder catch looking back up into the hazy sunshine. Tell you what, Len, the Indians haven't looked impressive as a team in this series, but they've got some individual players that can do some things out there on the field. Victor Martinez behind the plate and at the plate. Chu out in right field. We talked about Valbuena in this series.
We haven't had a chance to see Grady Sizemore, who's on the disabled list. No question they miss him a lot. He hit 33 homers, knocked in 90 last year, stole 38 bases. He has an elbow injury. The Cubs without Aramis Ramirez. As Soto takes the intentional walk, Jake Fox coming up. So the double play is now in order for Cleveland. Two walks and a double as the Cubs try to add to their lead. Drilled in the left. DeRosa with the catch. He's going to throw toward the plate. Terrio will get in safely. I think he just got his hand in. And it'll be a sacrifice fly for Jake Fox. Eric Wedge is coming out, and I think he's going to ask Lance Barksdale, did he ever touch the plate? Pretty good throw by DeRosa.
Jake Fox picking on a first pitch cutter inside, managed to get the barrel on it, hit that line drive to DeRosa, who had to hold his position. Couldn't really get a lot of momentum going, but we know the throwing arm that DeRosa possesses. A nice slide by Ryan Theriot. Victor Martinez had that baseline completely blocked, even moves further to his left. Theriot still able to get around it and get a hand on the plate. Nice slide.
First and second, the pitch to Kosuke is outside. One and one. Sauer set at the belt. And the pitch. 2-1. Cubs have won 3 in a row for the first time in over a month. Trying to make it 4 straight. Kosuke vacated, and that actually caught the outside part of the plate. 2-2.
Big slurvy breaking ball that time from Sauers. Starts it right at Kosuke, breaks it all the way across the plate, gets the call. Full count, 2 outs, 2 runners on base. Usually the base coaches remind the runners, make sure he pitches. You don't want to get picked off in this particular situation. Don't have to be in a hurry to get a jump to that next base. Make sure Sauers throws the ball home.
There go the runners. A tapper foul. Home Depot doing more on defense. Kosuke Fukudome laying out to make the catch against Chu in the top of this inning. Runners go again. Another foul. Cubs' next opponent, the Atlanta Braves, are at Fenway Park today, and they just tied the Red Sox 4-4 in the 7th. David Ortiz earlier hit his 6th home run for the Red Sox. Another 3-2, ball 4. They're loaded up again, this time for Andres Blanco.
Another good opportunity here for Andres Blanco. You heard him tell us before the ball game, one of the things he wants to work on is pitch selection at the plate, being a little more selective with the balls he chooses to swing at. He's always been a naturally very aggressive hitter. But this situation, he's in command right now. Sauers is the one that's in trouble.
Sowers threw exactly 9 pitches in each of the first 3 innings, but he's well over 20 alone here in the 4th. Strike 1.
Nothing wrong with that. That's a good pitcher strike that time by Sowers at the knees on the outside corner. Probably result in a ground ball somewhere in the infield. So you just take it and hope for something better here in the 0-1 count.
Now he has to battle down 0-2. A ton of chances in this spot with the bases loaded. Here it is. Fly ball to right. Chu is underneath, and that's the inning. The Cubs got one. They could have had more. They do lead 2-0 as we go to the 5th.
As Billy Joel and Elton John perform their face-to-face tour on Thursday, July 16th and Tuesday, July 21st. Rascal Flatts perform their Unstoppable tour on Saturday, July 18th. Tickets are still available by visiting tickets.com or calling 1-800-THE-CUBS. Mezzanine suites are also available by calling 773-404-CUBS.
Good to see John Anderson with the Cubs hat on. Father of Tamara Anderson, our outstanding associate producer. Joel Bailey to his left. We assume Tamara has said Happy Father's Day. If not, we'll deliver that message on the air to Mr. Anderson. And again, Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Some birthdays today, too. Happy 50th to Bill O'Neill, big Cub fan. Two and one on Chris Jimenez. Happy birthday to Tom Zimmerman from your wife Holly and your kids Ella, Andrew, and Tommy. Right center, Bradley makes the catch. A little help on the slice off the bat of Jimenez. So 1 out. Here comes Ben Francisco for the second time. He grounded out in the 3rd inning. Patsy Young has surgery coming up in Sugar Land, Texas this Tuesday. We want to send out our best wishes to Patsy. Bouncer to Fox. Jake's done a nice job over there at 3rd. Debbie, Joe Jr. and Lori Kudron all want to wish their dad Joe a very happy Father's Day. I want to thank him for all his efforts in taking care of their mom, Fran. Way outside on Sowers. 1 ball, no strikes. It's a final in Detroit. The Tigers beat the Brewers 3-2. So that helps out the Cubs and everybody else in this National League Central. Even though Milwaukee was out of first place going into play today behind the Cardinals. I don't have to tell you, the Tigers are going to be a tough matchup this week. Don't want to pitch to Miguel Cabrera. Don't really want to pitch to Marcus Thames. Some good young pitching. Backhanded by Lee. Wells beats Sowers to first base. It goes 3-1. As the Indians go down quietly in the 5th, halfway home on this nice Sunday afternoon. Cubs 2, Indians nothing. Eight days off between starts.
Yeah, we talked about him being a finesse pitcher, needed to hit his spots and change speeds, and you're always a little concerned when those kind of guys have a little bit too much rest, but no sign of a problem at all from Randy Wells so far.
And Randy Wells trying to help his team at the plate as he'll lead off the bottom of the 5th. trying to get on base for Alfonso Soriano, who's on deck. And then Ryan Theriot, if anybody reaches, Milton Bradley. They get an opportunity, inside out swing, fair ball for Randy Wells. Kicks off the sidewall. Not going to test Chu, who throws actually back to first. And Wells able to get back in time after his third career hit.
Good choice there by Randy Wells. We've seen Chu's throwing arm out there in right field, and he got to that ball pretty quickly as it bounced off the sidewall. A little slicing drive just inside the right field line. And he decides he's going to hit the brakes and stay right there.
One strike on Alfonso Soriano. Batting average on base percentage nowhere near what he would like it to be.
It's always worth a shot when you have a pitcher running. We saw Randy Wells take that turn around first base. His ankles kind of buckled a little bit as he hit the brakes to go back to first, and Chu came up firing to first base. I mean, most right fielders will tell you with a pitcher at the plate, a right-handed hitting pitcher that's likely to hit the ball to right field, they're always thinking about throwing that pitcher out at first base on a line drive, one hopper to right field. Usually they communicate with their first baseman, hey, if I get a hard hit ball out here, I might come right to you and try to throw the pitcher out at first base.
It's rare, but it has happened before. Ground ball, base hit. Past two defenders, just couldn't get it. Peralta and then Valbuena.
You know who was real good at that? Andre Dawson. Of course, he had the throwing arm to do it. As we get a look at Soriano, a little rollover ground ball, a lot of top spin, gets it past Peralta, past Valbuena into left field for a base hit. Yeah, pitchers not only had to hustle down that first base line, but position players had to hustle down the first base line on base hits to right field when the Hawk was out there.
Another great opportunity. The Cubs got one in the fourth, but a chance to get more as they had runners at second and third with no outs. This time first and second, no outs, and Theriot showing bunt. Looks at ball one low. That's a strike.
One thing at a time. Ryan got a little ahead of himself there. His task here is to just put a sac bunt down that third base line, force Peralta to come in and make the play. That time the Riot looked like he was trying to turn that into a bunt for a base hit.
The Cardinals are pouring it on at Kansas City, 9-4. Albert Pujols with his 25th home run. Khalil Green has hit his 5th. David DeJesus also homering for Kansas City, but it's 9-4. Cardinals, they're still batting in the top of the fourth. There's the bunt by Theriot. A little hesitation by Peralta. They'll get the out as Carroll was covering first. And it's a successful sacrifice for the Riot.
Nicely done. Perfectly executed that time. Bunted hard enough to get it past the pitcher down that third base line. forced the third baseman to come in and make the play. An easy advance for the two base runners. Nice job, Brian Terrio.
Jimenez playing in at first. Everybody else back. No chance for Wells to try to score on that ball, and it squirted away from Victor Martinez.
Yeah, normally you'd say in this situation a ground ball anywhere but back to the mound or a hard hit ground ball to first base should score a run, but with a pitcher running at third base, you're never quite sure. The ball just trickles away from Victor Martinez, not far enough for Wells to advance.
A 1-0 delivery is low. 2 balls, no strikes. Bradley, a career .364 hitter against one of his many former teams, the Cleveland Indians. Missed again, 3-0. Bradley generally has the green light in a 3-0 count, and he swings away and bounces it foul. I don't recall Bradley coming up with a hit, but he has swung a fair amount on 3-0 pitches.
Seemed to get a better pitch to hit than that on a 3-0 count if you're going to let the bat go, but fortunately that time pulled it foul. Still alive in the count here, and the count's still in his favor.
He got hit by that pitch in the right arm to load him up for Derek Lee.
Well, the cut fastball off the inside corner. Milton turned right into it. Looked like a grazer off the right elbow. Loading him up for Derek Lee.
Big hand for Derek. An 0 for 2 start to the afternoon, but bases loaded, 1 out. With the Cubs already leading 2-0. Here we go. Outside corner, pitcher's strike. A little bit outside, 1-1. Sauer's really slowing the game down here with runners on base, and the Cubs have had a lot of them the last 2 innings. The bases loaded now 3 different times. One slider, line for a base hit right in front of DeRosa. As Randy Wells comes in to score, they go station to station. 18 games with at least 1 hit. The hitting streak for Derek Lee, 3-0.
Everybody had to freeze momentarily. That ball was hit so hard. Cubs base runners weren't sure if Mark DeRosa was going to get over there and make a play on that line drive or do as he did, play it on a hop so only one run scores. But Giovanni Soto now with an opportunity with the bases loaded.
Carl Willis, Cleveland pitching coach, will talk it over with Sowers and Martinez before Soto bats. So the Cubs now with single runs in the second, fourth, and here in the fifth. They'd like to hang a crooked number up there as you're going to see some action. Left-hander Mike Gosling is going to crank it up.
Gosling is the only relief pitcher that hasn't seen action in this series for the Cleveland Indians. He was just recalled prior to the series, and everybody else in that bullpen has had plenty of work. 9 innings pitched for the Indians in the first 2 games of this series out of their bullpen.
You called it as we got started. Jeremy Sowers has been a 5-inning guy for the most part. And he has run into some major trouble here in the bottom of the fifth. The pitch to Soto is low, ball 1. Sowers in his second major league stint this season with the Indians. Good hack by Soto, 1-1.
Pitch count still in pretty good shape, but as you mentioned, really slowing the pace of the game down here, starting to take a lot more time between pitches.
Soto's home run in the second inning put the Cubs on the board. They would add on Jake Fox with a sac fly in the fourth inning, and Derek Lee here in the fifth with an RBI single. Another huge crowd here in the friendly confines as the Cubs wrap up an 8-game homestand. They're 4-3 coming in. And now it's full, 3-2.
I have to believe Sowers is going to go away with something here against Giovanni Soto. Tried to come in with a cutter back in the second inning, and Gio roped it out of here to left field.
The kick and the 3-2 pitch, ball 4. He has forced in a run. Here comes Soriano to the plate to make it 4-0.
Was a good at bat by Giovanni Soto. He had some good rips early in the sequence, fouled a couple pitches straight back, but then ended up taking the base on ball, setting it up for Jake Fox.
High deep fly for Jake Fox. Francisco back on the track, and hits the track. They're going to try to clear him. Nope, 2 are going to score. Soto holding at third. That is a 2-run double for Jake Fox as he was bidding for his first Major league home run. He just missed a grand slam by about 10 feet. 6-0.
I'll tell you, Len, it's not easy to tell when Jake Fox makes contact how hard he hits the ball. Usually there's a very distinct, crisp sound when a guy squares a ball up off the barrel of the bat. But Jake Fox is so strong and swings so hard that even when he mishits the ball, he hits it a long way.
And that'll be the end of Jeremy Sauer's afternoon. Left-hander Mike Gosling will come in. Sauers is out. And the Cubs trying to get some more. They've already scored 4 times this inning. It's 6-0. Magazine of the Chicago Cubs. Only Byline offers exclusive coverage from spring training all the way through the Cubs' next postseason run. Visit the Byline blog at Cubs.com and order today. Left-hander Mike Gosling will make his Indians debut. He had his contract selected from AAA Rochester. Actually, Columbus, those were his numbers at Rochester in the Minnesota chain. He was released on June 2nd, signed by the Indians to a minor league deal on the 5th of this month. And here he is, appearing in the majors for the first time since he was a Red in 2007. Called strike to Kosuke Fukudome.
He was a prospect in the Diamondbacks organization in the minor leagues when I was over there. Good fastball, sits in the low 90s, fairly straight, has a slurvy breaking ball and a straight changeup. Back in those days as a youngster, he had trouble finding the strike zone with any kind of regularity.
Fukudome with a fly out and a walk. The Indians have their infield in, 2nd and 3rd. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. Gosling was born in Madison, Wisconsin, and then kept heading west. High school in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then attended Stanford. Has a degree in human biology. On strike 3 to get Fukudome for the 2nd out.
Sneaky quick fastball right on the outside corner, freezes and we mentioned that Kosuke with the 4 hits yesterday, as Blanco will now be intentionally walked to get Randy Wells up to the plate. And we were a little bit surprised that he was in there today against a left-hander. It wasn't so much the fact that he had 4 hits yesterday, it was his approach at the plate. Very well balanced. He was letting the ball travel deep into the hitting zone, and Lou apparently felt that having the left-handed hitting Fukudome against the left-hander Sowers was a good matchup today.
Blanco taking the intentional walk. Here comes Randy Wells. Yeah, I don't think Kosuke would have started had Reed Johnson been at 100%. The back thing, day to day, but I would doubt we'd see Reed Johnson in the lineup for a couple of days at the very least.
And anytime you're talking about stiff back, sore back, and plane flights.
Oh, Randy Wells gets a hold of one, but Chu will make the catch. It was a good inning for Randy Wells. He started it with a single and later scored one of the Cubs' 4 runs and put a charge into that one. Can he get his first win today? He's ahead 6-0 after 5. Off for the Cubs. They make up their postponed game from June 4th in Atlanta. No missing the pitching duel between Ryan Dempster and Javier Vasquez. Cubs and Braves tomorrow at 6. Right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Part of that 10-game trip, 3 days of it, the Cubs can sleep in their own beds. They'll be here against the White Sox on the south side next weekend. Comcast Sportsnet will have coverage of games 1 and 3 Friday and Sunday. The 1-0 pitch to Jamie Carroll is hit foul. Comcast Sportsnet's Todd Hollinsworth will handle our 7th inning stretch coming up. In the middle of the 7th.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I know Holly has been practicing all day.
Into the left field corner. High bounce. Carroll rounding second. On his way to third, and he'll get in with his 2nd triple of the year. As the Indians with their best chance to get on the board. Runner at third, no outs.
Puts that ball right down into the left field corner where it bounces off of the warning track and very nearly up and out of the field of play. Soriano a little problem corralling it there, and Jamie Carroll never broke stride, running hard right out of the batter's box. Doesn't slow down between first and second. Right there, makes up his mind he's going to go ahead and try to go for third.
Everybody back against Mark DeRosa, and they'll get it in as Bradley will make the catch. Carroll scoring. DeRosa with his 50th RBI on a sacrifice fly, and it's 6-1. It's interesting to me how Mark DeRosa has been treated during this series. And we love Mark DeRosa. We knew he was going to get cheered when he was announced Friday, but he has been cheered every at bat. I haven't heard anyone boo Mark DeRosa. Have you? All weekend.
We've been booing him a little bit, but that doesn't count. No, I mean, you know, we said it when the series started. Mark DeRosa, not only for what he did on the field, but, you know, after some of those tough losses the last couple of years, DeRosa was always the guy to stand up in the clubhouse. He never ducked the media. He never ducked his responsibility as a spokesperson for this team. I mean, I don't think he actively sought that role, but that was the role he ended up with.
Martinez lines out 2 away.
So when fans want to hear what's going on after a tough loss, when you're the face that they see behind the voice, they think you're a stand-up guy, and he is a stand-up guy.
No doubt.
He never ducked his duties.
And same for Kerry Wood, who did not talk to the media after the game yesterday, but did at every turn here, and been a real tough return for Kerry. Blew the save Friday, took the loss yesterday.
I think every returning player coming back to your original team has an idea of how they would like it to go. You know, maybe even thought about it at night before they fell asleep. And I can guarantee you this is not what Woody had in mind.
No, but in terms of Mark DeRosa and the reaction of the fans, it's as good as it could go for a returning player. 6-1, the Indians on the board, but the Cubs lead by 5. One and nothing on Soriano. One quick addendum. Joe Creedy hit a home run in his return to the South Side. They gave him a standing ovation. He walked up, hit a home run. They booed him. If Mark DeRosa had hit like 3 home runs Friday, they probably would have booed him.
Yeah. It was quiet yesterday, just the one pinch hit appearance, and so far so good today. The sac fly.
There you go. Been a tough go for their bullpen lately. Although they were pretty good yesterday up until the bottom of the 13th. A pop up by Soriano. Peralta catching for the out. For individual health insurance from a name you can trust, call Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois at 866-575-BLUE. Good day for Terrio. A double, a steal, a walk, a run, and a sacrifice bunt. Thrown out by Valbuena. So big plans in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Coming up?
Yeah. Check into the hotel, take a nap, and go to the ballpark.
That's about it.
Go to the airport again.
And then we're off to Detroit. Spacious Comerica Park. That's become a better hitter's park the last couple of years. When it opened, it was a pitcher's park with a capital P. They shortened the fences in a few spots there. I'll be honest, it's not my favorite park. I remember going to Tiger Stadium. You were right on top of the field. It's a very spread out ballpark. Bradley finds the seam in left center. He'll end up at second base with a double. That's his second double of the day. And Bob, I don't think there's going to be much left of Tiger Stadium when we get there. They have basically demolished it. I don't know if anything will be standing when we do get there. Did you play at Tiger Stadium at all in '89 or not?
No, never played in Tiger Stadium. I've been to Tiger Stadium, seen a lot of ball games at Tiger Stadium, but never played there. Wait a minute, let me think. Yes, we did. I take that back. I didn't play. I was on the roster and I was in uniform, but I didn't play.
Gotcha. Did you have to sit down in the bullpen?
The pillbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like underground almost, right?
And there was only room for about 6 or 7 guys. And all you could see was people's knees and ankles from out there.
Breaking ball, strike 0-2 to Derek Lee.
Stalactites hanging down from the ceiling. It was just very wet, drab, dingy place to watch a ball game from.
And he went around, but he'll head off to first. Martinez got a good hop, and that's the third out. Bradley sliding in safely, but that was a third out, so it didn't count. But good hustle by Bradley. Martinez, just in case, ran back to the plate. That was kind of fun.
1-2-3, 1-2-3. Work on that.
6-1. Get highlights of all the action, analysis from Todd Hollinsworth, and check in on Lou Pinella's post-game remarks. Don't miss Lowe's Cubs post-game live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Post-game live will originate from here at Wrigley Field today. Peralta went around for a strike. You know, you ex-ball players, you guys have the worst memory.
I'm telling you.
Fans do this a lot. I just want to warn you when you ask players, as Peralta sends Bradley back to the warning track. And I'm sure people listening, this has happened to them. You see an ex-player and you say, I remember you remember the game back in 1987 when this happened, you had 4 hits and whatever, and the player has absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You played at Tiger Stadium.
Apparently,
you don't remember it.
Played 2 games, 6 at bats, I'm told. I must have really done well those 2 games.
You first of all said, no, never went there as a player. Then you said, no, I was there, but I didn't actually play. Now we find out you had 6 at bats. There you go.
Well,
so whenever I have a question about your playing career, I'm just going to ask our crew.
Yeah,
look it up.
Ask Tamara Anderson. She knows a lot better than I do. That whole American League experience of mine in 1989 is kind of a blur. 75 or 80 at bats spread over 3 months.
Don't say that. We can look it up. Are you sure?
I know it was not much more than that.
We will check.
Might not have been good at bats, but they were hard at bats.
Yeah, we got the Hollinsworths coming in.
Yeah. Reinforcements.
Yeah. Todd, Ty, and Tug ready for the stretch. 3-1 on Valbuena. Ripped into right. First hit of the day for Valbuena. Now Jimenez playing first base. Called strike. Good slider from Randy Wells. He has been strong throughout. Don't mind keeping this a 5 or 6 run lead because he's had a couple of 4-run leads that have evaporated late. Swing and a miss. You know, every guy in that bullpen, whenever it does get to the bullpen, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure Randy Wells gets that first win. Sorely deserves it. This is his 8th start. Has an ERA of about 2.5.
What a nice surprise Randy Wells has been this season. You know, coming out of spring training, you're going to need more than your 5 starting pitchers that you begin the season with. Never quite sure who those additional starting pitchers are going to be and how much they're going to contribute at the major league level, but Larry and Lou have to be ecstatic with what they've gotten from Randy Wells.
We will see some action here, I think, momentarily in the bullpen. Fouled at the plate. Sean Marshall getting up. Not hit very hard. Fox will throw to first. 2 outs. Well, the mantra of Jake Fox as a third baseman, it may not always look pretty, but I'll get the job done. And so far he has. In his second major league start over there. Hasn't had any real tough chances in this series.
I'll tell you what, Len, if all it took was hard work, he'd be Brooks Robinson down there, because he really gets after it down there at third base during batting practice, takes ground balls right at him, to his right, to his left. Little choppers forcing him to come in. He is really giving it a maximum effort, trying to improve his skills down there at third base.
1-0 on Ben Francisco, who was grounded out twice. Wells with a 1-0. It's low and outside on a slider. Out the corner, 2-1. Albert Pujols has done it again, leading the majors in home runs. He's hit 2 today, 26 home runs. He's driven in 6 runs. He's the DH for the Cardinals of Kansas City. 12-5 Cardinals in the 6th. Two-two pitch, Tapper in front of the plate, and nobody picks it up. I got it, you take it.
Yep. Tough one there. I think either player could have made the play on that little topper out in front of home plate. They both went for it, and then they both gave up on it at the same time.
Well, as a former catcher, I mean, whose play is it, Bob? Is someone just got to scream?
Whoever yells the loudest.
Yep.
Normally, it's an easier play for the catcher. He's got a little bit of momentum going out in that direction, can scoop and throw all in one motion. The pitcher has to pick it up and change directions to throw back to first base, but that was a perfect tweener right there.
Travis Hafner announced as a pinch hitter for Gosling. So Lou talking with Lance Barksdale about the moves he's going to make. If he's going to make a move.
It looked like Randy Wells was trying to plead his case. I can get this guy, but Lou's got Sean Marshall warmed up and ready to go, and looks like he is going to make the change.
Big hand for Randy Wells. May 3rd of this year was a historic day here at Wrigley Field. The Cubs retired number 31 in honor of two of the greatest pitchers to ever wear a Cubs uniform. Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins and future Hall of Famer Greg Maddux. For a limited time only, Cub fans can purchase their very own 18x24 commemorative painting of Jenkins and Maddux. Each painting signed by artist John Hanley, individually numbered. Order yours today at Cubs.com. Sean Marshall, a strike to Travis Hafner. He's probably thinking to himself, one swing and I can get my team back in it. First and third, 2 outs in the 7th. A pitch to Hafner. Curveball missed. 1-1. High bouncer past Lee, also gets by Blanco. And it's 6-2.
A good breaking ball. Hafner just pounds it down into the ground. Unfortunately, bounces it over the head of Derek Lee and just past Andres Blanco into right field for an RBI.
Kevin Hart back with the big league club. Loosening in the bullpen. We may not see Carlos Marmol today. He's trying to give some guys some rest. Kevin Gregg has been busy, but in a save spot, he is available today. Never easy, even with a big lead. It was 6-0 at one point, now 6-2. And the tying run is on deck. Ground ball to short. This should do it. Terrio to Blanco. Todd Hollingsworth with our 7th inning stretch.
7th inning stretch. Please welcome former Chicago Cub Todd Hollingsworth.
All right, Cubs fans, happy Father's Day. Now let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's score some more runs. Let's go.
Nice job, Todd Hollingsworth. Time for an exclusive sneak peek of Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs, opening July 1st.
Not so bad.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, Matt was watching the whole time.
Well, I'm sure that he probably was. I'm glad he came out and waved. I didn't have a chance to see him before the game.
Bottom of the 7th, Jensen Lewis pitching for the Indians. 6-2 Cubs. Giovanni Soto at the plate. Todd Hollinsworth of our Comcast Sportsnet crew. And former Chicago Cub, also former National League Rookie of the Year with the LA Dodgers, in the booth with us with his sons Ty and Tug. Happy Father's Day, Todd.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Tonight's a great day. Be able to be with the boys.
Yeah, and low and slow. You mentioned that you've been taking notes, as Bob has mentioned that on the air, and you nailed it.
I pay attention. I'm glad to think so. I think the idea behind it is you really don't want to be remembered for doing the 7th inning stretch. Is that right? If you do a good job, they don't remember, but when you don't, they do.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly right. 1-2 on Soto. High in the air, pretty well hit. Francisco's on the warning track, but he's going to have just enough room. Now, you didn't notice this, but I did, because you were trying to keep your eyes focused on the field as you sang the song. But your brother-in-law, Matt Hergis, who's in the Indians bullpen, was watching the entire time, and he got your attention right after the 7th inning stretch. He enjoyed that very much.
Family has a great way of calming your nerves. That's why, honestly, to see Matt out there, it makes the big picture seem a lot smaller. To have the boys up here certainly makes the job a little bit easier. But you don't realize, you get up here in front of 40,000 people, how those nerves, and next thing you know, they're all staring at you at the same time.
Oh, we see it every single day. 1-0 on Jake Fox. Todd, we want to ask you about your post-playing career, and you're back, around the ballpark with us when the Cubs are home and doing the pre- and post-game shows. But how's that transition gone for you? And you talk about your family. I know spending a lot of time with them is very important.
Well, it's been great with Ty, Tug, Trey, and soon to be Tatum. We'll throw that out there. We've got a girl at the end of our rope coming in August, so we're very excited about that. But yes, I'm definitely a family man at heart. Spent an awful lot of time with my family. Took a few years off after the 06 season and transitioned into some broadcasting.
Well, it's great to have you with us. We enjoy your insight and analysis, and lately talking about wins.
Well, that's the exciting thing. I got the privilege of talking with Ronnie about this. And
ground ball to third, backhanded by Peralta. 2 outs.
I definitely don't want to say that the energy or the passion was gone. I mean, I love these Cubs fans as much as anything. It just seemed like with the lack of offense and the great pitching that this team has gotten, it was a bit deflating. This team was kind of trying to find an identity, and I think this last week it's just been so exciting for me personally to watch these guys come through in the clutch, to come from behind, to get the walk-off wins here at home, at the same time to come out today, hopefully finish this game up with a win. They just look so much better. They look so much more confident. They look like they're believing in each other. It's not 1 or 2 guys in this lineup. It's different guys each day contributing and getting big hits.
1 strike on Kosuke. There's a guy coming up with a ton of big hits. Derek Lee, another RBI single and a run for your former Marlins and Cubs teammate, Derek Lee. That's low. 1-1. Cubs with a big 4-run 5th. Outside 2-1. We have time here in this half inning, and hopefully it continues. I want to go down memory lane, and a great catch you made back in 2004. Swing and a miss.
Kosuke shaking out the wrists after swinging and missing at that high fastball.
Lewis coming inside. Hit hard, but right at Jamie Carroll. You can hang for a couple more minutes, Todd. We're going to show one of the great catches in Cubs history. Coming back with Todd Hollinsworth as the Cubs lead 6-2 after 7. Cubs with a big win in extras, and Todd Hollandsworth a little more hair at that time, planting your face right into the padding. What a catch in the 12th inning in a 5-5 tie. I would ask you if you remember it. You probably don't. No.
Well, this is true. What gets me is that hair. Wow, it was long. But when I came here, when I had come here after the 2003 season, and obviously I hate to throw this out, but I had brought. We called it World Series hair, and it was under that hat, and we wanted a World Series here so badly. Derek and I, talked about it. I just kind of refused to cut my hair. We had come out in 2004. We were playing pretty well as a team. Things were going well for myself personally. That hair just continued to grow and grow, and it kind of took on a life of its own.
And now that you're in the real world, right? You cut your hair.
Well, I almost feel obligated to a little bit. I wouldn't want to put TV through what that might look like.
What are you the most proudest of in terms of your playing career? As you mentioned, the World Series ring. You were with several different teams. You had a 3-homer game as a member of the Rockies.
This is true. It came on Easter. It was a special day in 2001. I think that would be the one game that I look back and say, well, I mean, it would be easy to say the 3 home runs and the 7 RBIs, including a walk-off in extra innings against Bob's team over there. The Arizona Diamondbacks.
He's trying to repress that from his memory, I think.
That day was special to me because I'd struck out twice to start the game, and really it was kind of a tale of my career in a lot of ways, because I was always overcoming from injuries and at times slow starts and poor performances, and then I had great runs in which I would had the opportunity to play well and given a great opportunity, and I was a 4th outfielder, I was a starter. I mean, I did it pretty much all as a player, and again, had that little bit of mixed results in there, career 273 hitter, I think, and that kind of tells the story. So I think that really does sum it up.
Why'd you pitch to him, Bob?
Hey, he made out his first 2 times up.
Struck out his first 2 times up, for that matter.
Swing and a miss. DeRosa strikes out against Sean Marshall. Have you had any residual effects in terms of your leg? I mean, a very strange situation, fouling a couple balls off your shin and suffering fractures.
Well, it was crazy. It started in 2001. I did the very same thing that I did here in Chicago. I had a fracture in my leg in which I had 9 small cracks in my leg. The thing that was so scary about what I had done when I did it here in Chicago was that when I fouled the ball off my leg again, it wasn't in the same spot, but the cracks were in the same place. And that's what kind of made everybody so paranoid, and the recovery time was so slow. I guess it had been likened to a football injury that I guess a lot of defensive backs suffer from, getting hit in the shins. I'm okay now. Really, there is about one time a year I do feel it, and it's that transition from about fall into winter. When the temperature starts to drop, I really do feel it a little bit, but for the most part, I still run 7.5, 10 miles a week, and everything's okay. I have no complaints in that area, and I'm certainly not complaining about pain. Things are okay. I'm all right.
Bob is reminded of his playing career on a daily basis.
Yeah, the knees. First thing to go, Todd. You know how that is for a catcher.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll tell you, it had to be a big thrill also for you in your career to be a part of that great run of Dodgers Rookies of the Year. I mean, it seemed like you guys had a stranglehold on that award every year.
It certainly was. It was something that I was very, very proud of. At the same time, when you step out there, and I played for Tommy Lasorda, and I know you know Tommy very well, the pressure to do it came with the role, and I was a young kid trying to make it on a veteran team.
Soriano the catch. Martinez is out.
Now, that's not always the easiest thing to do.
Well, when there was 4 in front of you, and the crazy thing about it was we had just had Hideo Nomo, and Hideo Nomo had just beaten out Chipper Jones, and I'm looking at the numbers that these guys were throwing out, and I'm like, have mercy. I hope I can get about halfway to what these guys did. I benefited at the same time from coming off a strike. There was a strike at the time. I came in, and we played in a shortened season. I actually ended up keeping my rookie status past the 95 season because I'd hurt myself. I went into the 96 season from the 95 season and got off to a good run on a veteran team and was able to contribute and had a good run right there. I'm very, very proud to be the 5th Rookie of the Year for the Dodgers. It's something that I will always look back on it with fond memories. Unfortunately, we weren't able to keep it together very long. We were broken up rather quickly.
2 strikes on Chu. He had a rocket just over the Cubs dugout. Hope everybody's all right over there. And the 0-2 from Marshall in on his hands and fouled back to the screen. 6-2 Cubs. Randy Wells right now. The Cubs can hold it, would get his first major league win. He was very sharp today. 6 2/3 innings, gave up just 2 runs. That is foul. I know you're taking diligent notes. We'll be on the post-game show live from Wrigley Field. Did you get wet the other night, by the way?
Oh my goodness!
Talking to Frank Thomas, he said, I just threw the suit in the bag right after the game.
We got so locked up. We did Tuesday, got rained out. We were so paranoid of the rain that we were supposed to be on Thursday, and it was a beautiful sunshiny day, and we still did it in the studios. We were so scared of the rain.
It's been a weird weather season, to say the least.
Yes, it has.
The last couple of days have been very nice. And the Cubs and White Sox will get together again next weekend on the south side. Another 0-2 and another foul.
Well, how's your wiffle ball curve? I would imagine you get to throw a lot of BP to these guys.
I do, and they rifle them right back at me. That's the one thing I always tell my guys. I said, listen, let's just practice hitting Daddy in the forehead, and that way we'll keep our hands inside the ball. We're not going to get out and start yanking balls to left or right, and they get real good at it.
Derek Lee unassisted. Todd Hollingsworth, thanks for the time. We'll catch you right after the ball game. Talking Ty, thanks for coming in as well. And bottom of the 8th, thanks to Todd Hollingsworth for dropping by. Cubs trying to engineer the sweep over the Indians. Jensen Lewis against Andres Blanco, turning around, batting left-handed. Jose Escanio in the bullpen. Look out, Andres.
Oh, right at his dome. I'll tell you, there is a quickness about Andres Blanco's game. You can see it even on that pitch up and in. Right near his head, waited, and turned away at the last instant. We've seen that same quickness defensively. Occasionally his swing gets a little long. He tries to muscle up sometimes, but you really have to like what you've seen from this young man.
Paid crowd today, 40,866. Not nearly as much drama as we've seen pretty much throughout the homestand, but that's a good thing today.
Thank you.
That's a base hit. And Michael Hoffpower will pinch hit for Sean Marshall. Time now to bring you up to speed with the AT&T Rapid Rewind. Giovanni Soto showing his power stroke with a second inning home run. And Jake Fox with a 2-run double. 3 RBIs on the day for Fox. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Fly to right, and it's deep. Chu into the corner on the track, makes the catch right in front of the knot hole, and that'll send Blanco back to first as Micah just didn't get enough of it. So you didn't have that feeling that time.
No,
you did yesterday, and he went deep.
Sometimes it just overtakes me. I didn't feel it that time, and Micah made a bid anyway. He doesn't have to wait for me. He just got out in front a little bit.
Well, if it works out as planned, Alfonso Soriano can get on the plane tonight, get a really good night's sleep, come to the ballpark and do a lot of nothing, as Lou would like to give him tomorrow night off. A lot of travel the next couple of days. 4, 6, 3 a double play. As the Cubs regulars, those guys need a day off. We'll go to the 9th. Cubs leading 6-2. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of Cubs.com. See a Cubs game from the best seats at Wrigley Field. Check out StubHub at Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. Jose Escaños trying to wrap up this 6-2 win. Not a save situation. And hopefully he doesn't create one for somebody else, as Johnny Peralta will lead it off, followed by Luis Valbuena and then Chris Jimenez. Good start. Strike one.
Scano has been really good against right-handed hitters, holding him to a 114 average on the season.
Slider missed to make it 1-1. Randy Wells has been in this position before with a late 4-run lead and in the dugout watching. Pop foul, 2-2.
You know, Len, we talk about it all the time. Really, as a starting pitcher, you can't control the wins and losses. All you can do is go out there and try to keep your team in the ball game, try to limit the damage that the other team does, and you hope your offense scores some runs for you. You hope your defense makes the plays behind you, but you can't control the wins and losses. That doesn't make it any easier at the end of the day when you go home knowing that you pitch well enough to win. But I think Randy Wells understands his role with this team, and as a starting pitcher, that's part of your daily life.
Swinging strike three for the first out. Now our BMW ultimate drive of the game, Giovanni Soto with a go-ahead homer. At the bottom of the second.
Boy, we've seen a lot of quick, powerful swings from this Cubs offense over the last week or so. A lot of guys have shortened up, stopped trying to do too much with some pitches and just get the barrel on it as quickly as possible and getting good results.
We've seen a quick bat from Luis Valbuena. He has hit 3 home runs in the series. Can get within 1 of second place Milwaukee. The Brewers with 32 losses, so the Cubs would be up a game in the loss column. White Sox helping out the Cubs, beating the Reds today, so Cincinnati at 500. Cubs trying to get 3 games over. Cardinals in good shape, bottom 8, leading by 7 in Kansas City. Red Sox got a run on the bottom of the 9th and beat the Braves 6-5. Let's see, first pitch home run in the bottom of the 9th by Nick Green ended it. Off Jeff Bennett. Lined and down for a hit. Valbuena on yet again.
And yesterday we had the matchup of the Weaver brothers, Jeff Weaver and Jared Weaver. Jeff of the Dodgers, Jared of the Angels, and Jeff came out on top in that ball game. Dodgers won 6-4.
Tony La Russa today could win his 2,500th career game as a manager. Outside to Jimenez.
Well, with that in mind, it's too bad that the Cardinals are leading by so much in that game. He could make 12 pitching changes in the last 3 innings if it was a close game. It would seem fitting for win number 2,500.
He still might. Well, they've used 4 already. Larry Rothschild coming out as Kevin Gregg is now loosening in the bullpen. Well, I do like the fact that Travis Hafner, even though he did not get a run in the 7th, has already been used up. So not an option off the bench anymore for Eric Wedge. I would assume Ryan Garco not an option. He has a sprained left wrist and was out of the lineup.
I was about to say the only left-handed bat he has available is a switch hitter, Trevor Crow, that we've seen a few times in this series. Not really a big-time offensive threat. Everybody else right-handed bats off the bench for Eric Wedge.
Ball 4. And you get the feeling Lou's going to have to go to the closer, and this may be the moment. Kevin Gregg needs a little more time.
I think Lou may have been a little more patient if Escanio was throwing strikes and the Indians were hitting the ball, but when you start walking guys in a 4-run ball game, especially the guys at the bottom of the order, the last thing in the world you want to do is roll around to the top where you've got Mark DeRosa in the 2 spot, Victor Martinez in the 3 spot. You do not want to have those guys at the plate with runners on base.
It is now a save situation with a tying run on deck. And it'll be Kevin Gregg in for Jose Escanio, and we come back to Wrigley Field. Friday and again on Saturday with scoreless innings. Kicks away from Soto, and runner's able to move up. A wild one by Gregg. Well, Jimenez got off to a bit of a late start. Took a little bit of a risk. But he did get the second.
First pitch breaking ball from Kevin Gregg in the dirt over in that left-handed batter's box. A nice block by Giovanni Soto. It gets far enough away that the Indians are able to advance both runners into scoring position. Nice play by Blanco to keep that ball out of center field.
Crowd getting a little antsy. 2-0. The next one. Ooh, got it for a strike. That's a big one. 2-1. It was borderline. Strike 3.
Oh, what a nice comeback in that at bat. Fell behind 2-0 on a couple of breaking balls and then just pumps 3 heaters right past Francisco.
Trevor Crow pinch hitting. One and one. Cubs not concerned about the base runners. He went 1-2. Cubs lead by 4 in the ninth. 2 on, 2 down. The 2-2 pitch. And it's wide of first. It's foul. Greg has a sign from Soto. The next pitch. Another foul. Nice play over there at first base. Luis Rivera, their first base coach. Another 2-2 pitch. Ground ball. Blanco backhands a throw to first. Got him. Cubs win. Andres Blanco with another dazzling defensive play. Good dig by D. Lee, and the Cubs sweep the series.
We've seen Blanco do it all weekend with that leather.